What is happening, baby? Welcome back to the Huddle Chat Sports Network's very own fantasy football huddle, presented by DanklyfeBrand. Let's talk sports and shank it golf brand. Thank y'all so much for joining me today. We're getting it started, cracked off right into the news. So fill up your cups, roll something up, and let's get right into the news. Today, we're trying to help you make your bench as perfect as it can be. I have got a target from each position that you should go grab on your fantasy football roster right now to help complete your bench, perfect your bench. So the first things first, Chris Evans from the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, rumor has it Chris Evans is going to officially be taking those RB2 numbers behind Joe Mixon. You saw what Samaje Perine was doing behind Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon showed a absolute decline in his efficiency last year. And if Mixon struggles even a little bit, Chris Evans is going to get a larger role. However, I think Chris Evans has more than just handcuff ability to him and handcuff upside to him. Chris Evans has his own role as a pass-catching running back in this offense, and Joe Mixon has not shown himself to be a running back that really wants to be involved in the pass-catching role on the offense of the Cincinnati Bengals. So you see Chris Evans already carving out a role for himself. I think that Chris Evans is going to be an absolutely amazing addition to your bench, especially if you have Joe Mixon or you need to add another running back to your roster. Now, of course, you've heard me speak about Marvin Mims before from the Denver Broncos at the wide receiver position. Things just keep getting better for Marvin Mims. It's one of those one man's trash is another man's treasure type situations. When you look at Marvin Mims, he had tons of hype coming into the draft this year. Wide receiver production was absolutely abysmal in Denver last year, and a large part of that could be whether it was coaching or Russell Wilson's lack of ability for some reason last year. But I don't think Russell Wilson, coming off of MVP seasons, Super Bowl seasons, forgot how to play football altogether. I blame it on the coach, and so did the Broncos, and that's why they went and got Sean Payton. Sean Payton, you figure, makes that offense better, and Russell Wilson, you would think that last year was just a bad year. And honestly, it can't get any worse for Russell Wilson. So if he gets even just a little better, things look good for Denver Broncos wide receivers. But for Marvin Mims in particular, there's been injuries to Tim Patrick. KJ Hamler is now no longer on the team. He may re-sign, but has had some heart issues and reasons that they cut him in the first place. And then the big knocker, Jerry Jeudy, now knocked out for multiple weeks with an injury. This has all opened the doors for that number 2 wide receiver role. First, we were talking about Marvin Mims and that number 3 wide receiver role. Now Marvin Mims is really going to get an extremely large target share in week 1 this season. You have opened the doors for the second round pick to make an immediate impact. Now you look at in week 1, the Las Vegas Raiders is who are the Denver Broncos opponent, and they allowed the 4th most yards per game and passing yards per game last season. So you're looking at they didn't really make many changes on defense, so I don't see what's going to be much different for the Las Vegas Raiders defense this season. The Denver Broncos just have to be mildly on track for Marvin Mims to realize the insane upside that he has on this roster this season. Now, moving on to another wide receiver you can add to make your bench perfect. We're going to be talking about veteran wide receiver Jacoby Myers. Now, Jacoby Myers can be a player that does not provide league-winning upside to you, but you can put him in your lineup and feel comfortable. He's going to be the number 2 option that the quarterback looks at when he drops back. He will be on field upwards of 90% of the time for the snap count, and he has shown an ability to operate as a low-end wide receiver 2, as a high-end wide receiver 3, someone you can put into your flex spot in a pinch. Darren Waller is now with the Giants. You're looking at Mac Hollins now with Atlanta. and everything's looking up for Jacoby Myers. His skill set complements Davante Adams extremely well. There's tons of targets available in this offense, and despite what you think about how this offense may look, the number 2 wide receiver across from Davante Adams, who's garnering that much attention, is going to receive a lot of target share in this offense, and Jacoby Myers has shown enough that you can feel comfortable in a pinch starting this man. Now let's move on to the quarterback position. Let's say that you went with that late round approach and you want to add that number 2 option. It's smart to add a number 2 quarterback if you're doing a late round quarterback approach. One quarterback that I was loving targeting in the late rounds when it came to my late round quarterback strategies was Kirk the Jerk Cousins. If there's anybody that you can count on to have a consistent season and finish right about where his ADP is, it's Captain Kirk. Kirk Cousins, also, you now look at that wide receiver room just getting better. You look at TJ Hawkinson still on the team. Everything looks amazing for Captain Kirk. And if you haven't seen that show Quarterback on Netflix, you should check it out. They do some real nice inside coverage with Kirk Cousins. And I liked a lot about him. It had that Hard Knocks effect on me. And it's more than just that. Kirk Cousins has shown that consistency, has shown that ability, and there's a ton of upside. He may not be a league winning player, but he's somebody that you can draft and know that you have him as a safe option, somebody that you can stream, whatever it may have you, having that backup quarterback option. Now, another popular quarterback streaming option, sleeper option, is going to be Anthony Richardson from the Indianapolis Colts. Like I said, if you went late on quarterback and think it's smart to roster a number 2 option like I think it is, Anthony Richardson is a great quarterback to take a chance on. Rookie quarterbacks are typically risky. I'm not going to lie to you about that. But when a rookie quarterback has extreme rushing upside like Anthony Richardson does, it's good to bet that the upside pays off. Look at what Lamar did. Look at what Justin Fields did. Look at what Jalen Hurts did. When they all came into that first year, and Anthony Richardson will be a first-year starter, that rushing upside was hard to ignore. They will get better as passers, but that rushing upside gives you great volume. Even people like Danny Dimes, I can continue going down the list. Anthony Richardson has extreme upside, and I think more upside in fantasy football than any of the rookie quarterbacks. Last person we're going to talk about is a tight end. If you went with a late tight end strategy in your drafts, you're going to be looking at Chikwe Ogwumike from Tennessee as a potential bench tight end that you might even be able to start week 1. Weeks 12 through 18, Chikwe Ogwumike was tight end 7, averaged 9.5 PPR points per game. All of that while splitting carries with Austin Hooper. Hooper is gone now, and Chikwe Ogwumike is taking that tight end 1 role all by himself in Tennessee. You're looking at Ryan Tannehill, who has shown a tendency to favor the tight end position in the past, and a lot of people are talking about the fact that DeAndre Hopkins might hamper a potential breakout season for Chikwe Ogwumike. However, I think the addition of D-Hop only helps. Treylon Burke is hurt for a couple of weeks, so it might even out for those first few weeks. But I think the addition of D-Hop, and then you have Treylon Burks, who has kind of already instilled the fear into the defenses in the NFL, it's going to open up more targets availability for Chikwe Ogwumike, because when you look at defenses trying as hard as they can to shut down veteran wide receiver D-Hop, and then trying as hard as they can to not forget about Treylon Burks, they're going to have to pick a weakness. As me and my friends like to say, you're going to have to give up something. You pick your poison, and the poison is going to be Chikwe Ogwumike. So if you found yourself not being able to grab one of those top 7, top 8 tight ends, and you're looking at potentially drafting a safe backup at the tight end position, Chikwe Ogwumike from Tennessee might be the way to go for you. That's going to do it for players that will help make your bench perfect in your fantasy football roster this year. Thank y'all so much for being here with me today. It was a pleasure. That's going to be it. Make sure you keep your chin up and your attitude down. I will see y'all next time. I'm out of here.